Usually Harley puts, or did for a long time, put the axles in here backwards. So they would actually come in from the right side and then the nut would be on the left over here. Made it a pain in the butt because the exhaust runs right here. So for a long time, what we did every time we take the axle out, put it back in the left side so the nut's over here so you don't have to take the exhaust off to get the rear wheel out. Two, I'm not a fan of cotter pins, so I always use these hitch pins, clips. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hitch pin clips and rear axle, so it just slides in there and you just pop it into place like so. So you're not fiddling around with a cotter pin. You just use a hitch pin clip in there. It's the same idea. It's just reusable. And really that's about it. Well, actually, another thing too. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll just explain it to you. The belt, the way these pulleys are cut, the teeth on them, when they roll forward, the belt wants to walk to the outside here. So the easy way to notice it, if you pull a lot of bikes, you jack the rear end up and you spin the wheel backwards, you notice that the belt rides towards that way. If you got a fatter tire in there, some bikes you back it up and you'll hear the belt rubbing up against the tire. It's no big deal. As soon as you roll forward, the belt moves back out this way. Back to the axle thing. The reason Harley put them in the other way is so if the bearings, somebody doesn't service their wheel bearings, the idea was that if the wheel locked up, the axle would still spin, but it wouldn't spin the nut off. So if it's this way, if the wheel's spinning this way, if it locks up in there, it's going to spin the nut off of the axle versus the other way, which will keep the nut tight. But that being said, if you service your wheel bearings, at that point, they're so bad that the axle ain't going to come out anyway because it's done locked up to the damn inner races of the wheel bearings. So no problem with putting the axle in from the left side. Makes things a lot easier when you're working on the bike. You can still tighten it. Remember, these are only torqued, these 3/4 inch axles are only torqued to like 50 to 55 foot-pounds. If you over tighten them, you can, you can change the end play of the change the end play of the wheel there. You're over tightening it, so you're actually crushing the inner spacer that's between the bearings. And if you service your wheel bearings on a regular basis, which most people don't, but they should, really that's about it. I hate to sound like a broken record, but service your bike, service your wheel bearings, check your sprocket bolts. Just go around the bike, and I just got the strut loosely bolted on here until I figure out how low I'm going to drop this thing. Really, that's about it. I'm probably going to swap because I'm not buying and changing the sprockets yet. I'll probably swap the front pulley off the 883 because it's smaller, and put it on this bike. So it'd be this comes with a 29 tooth front pulley. 883 comes with a 27 tooth. So it takes it like I can't remember what I figured it out was. It was 2.15 to 2.4, 2.3, something. I don't know. If you need to figure it out, the ratio is just remember drive into driven. So you're going to take the drive gear, you're going to take the pulley, and you're going to divide it by the drive gear. So 68 divided by 29, or in the 1200 case, or 68 divided by 27 in the 883 case. That gives you your final drive ratio for the rear. So basically what it does, it'll change the RPM of the bike. It'll give the 1200 a little bit more kick in the pants off the bottom end there. It'll raise the RPM level up probably 300-400 RPM, if that, at highway speeds. So the reason they do that, 883 ain't got enough oomph to really take off well, versus the 1200, which has a little more, it's bigger, so it's got a little more oomph to it. So just remember, if you want your 1200 a little bit faster off the line, you can drop 883 front pulley on there if you're not converting it to chain drive. They use the same belt length for both of them. You just end up sliding the wheel back in the swing arm a little bit further when you adjust it. But we're going to do that and soldier on until we actually convert it to chain and sprockets. Probably do a 520 chain on here. That's all it really needs, really. And for off-road use, I'll use a non-O-ring chain, just because they don't have as much friction as O-ring chain. O-ring chain, you have to get it hot before it actually loosens up a little bit. And since he's just going to be drag racing this bike a little bit here and there, non-O-ring chain's fine. Hell, these things came with a non-O-ring chain before. Long time ago, they came with a diamond chain or a Duckworth. Long time ago, we're talking probably 90, 91, 92 earlier, 93 maybe. Can't remember exactly. Sometime in the early 90s. The 5-speeds did come with some of them came with a chain. I think the very base model 883s came with a chain still. And then you would just use earlier model rear sprockets on there. You could get the disc rear sprocket or straight sprocket, depending on what you were trying to do. I think if I remember correctly, the gear ratio on the older ones was like a 21 tooth front sprocket for a chain and a 48 tooth rear sprocket, and found that usually 21 and a 50 or 21 and a 49 actually worked a little bit better than the 48, give it a little more oomph. And of course, depending on what you were doing with the bike, you could change that to whatever. You could put a 20 front and a 50 rear, or whatever ratio you preferred. That's when sprockets were cheap. A lot cheaper than they are now. Have you priced sprockets lately? Unbelievable. But then again, figure a belt and a pulley. Them pulleys ain't cheap, never have been, front or rear. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm just going over, getting ready to do the top end on this thing here, probably later today. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I probably won't be doing crap tomorrow because I got to drive all the way to Sanford, which is, it's not really that far, but I'm old and I get tired easy, so we'll see how that goes. And then I guess next up, I have to do something with this rear end here. These struts back here have definitely kicked to them off of this side, both of them, especially the left one here. It's in pretty far, and I'm probably not going to try and straighten them because these are cast. They used to be just straight tube. 93 and earlier, they were still tube back here, so they were pretty easy to bend. These are investment castings, so it's kind of iffy. You can straighten them, but not as easy as tube. So I'll probably be hacking these off and making aluminum fender struts for the back of this thing. We'll see. I'll let you know when we do that. I think the boys drawing some up in Fusion 360 maybe on the CAD software program he's got in there. But he's in school for an engineering degree, so he needs to be doing that crap more than I've already done it. Not with Fusion 360. I've used AutoCAD, but that's, very long time ago. Now that's going on 27, 28 years ago for AutoCAD for me, so I've pretty much forgotten all that stuff. But that's it for this. If you like my content, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And everybody have a great week. Appreciate you watching. New followers, appreciate you. Old followers, appreciate you too. Appreciate anybody watching. Guys, have a great week. Thank you.